I wish that we were here under happier circumstances. I wish that we were able to celebrate Lauren, my handing Lauren her diploma. But we're not. For whatever reason, Lauren decided that she wanted to join the spirit world. And in her wake, we are here to celebrate everything that she brought to us in the time that she was with us. There are a lot of people here from her family, her biological families, and a lot of people that are here that she grew up with and people that she's friends with. There are those of us sort of over here on this side of the building that only knew Lauren for this past year. She was one of us. She was part of our family, the Masters in Branding family, where she rocked it every day with her fierce beauty and her brilliance and her take no prisoners attitude and her badass, bad girl awesomeness every single day. There was no one like, and there will never be anyone like, Lauren Del Vecchio Zaleski. She came to learn, and we learned from her. She taught us something every day about what it meant to be alive, to appreciate life, to appreciate what we have, to consider the possibilities that we're luckier than we realize, and to want to make a difference. What was so unique about Lauren's attitude was that though she fiercely believed this, she was so damn insecure. She never felt like she was good enough. She never felt like she could do something the most perfect way. And man, did she try. There was not a week that went by where she and I didn't talk about how much more she wanted to do and how much better she could be. And what if she could do that? And what if she did this differently? And then in March, we started a class called a brand called You, which is very much about understanding what it is that you bring into the world that no one else does. And in many ways, it's an acknowledgement of sorts, both looking at the good, the bad, the ugly, the shameful, the esteemed, to try and understand, maybe embrace everything that we are and everything that we are in the world. So I want to read two things that Lauren shared, one with me personally and one that Lauren posted on her blog publicly. Lauren was a sharer. For those that were her instructors, you know that you often got long emails from Lauren, some of which we'll hear today, about what she was thinking. Just a couple of quick thoughts that ended up being 5 pages long. Or Lauren decided that she was in a generous mood, and before you knew it, everybody in the class, in the program, all received leather bracelets that she had made. Lauren had a big heart. Lauren's big heart was bigger than I think any of us could handle. Lauren's big heart made us feel loved, made us feel important. Lauren gave her heart to us. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for being part of our lives in this year, in all of your years. Hi, Debbie. Hope you are well. Just a short note before I get down to business. I had my second meeting with Audrey at Audio Brain today, and I'm so thankful for this added bonus to the program, especially thankful for the opportunity to work with Audrey. She's a rock star. Thank you for this. So I've been thinking about my weaknesses since our class on Friday night. I handed in my homework to you, but you had mentioned maybe taking some time to think it over and then send it in, so I thought I might send an amendment. I thought about what you said, about getting down to the core weaknesses that causes things like guilt, what you referred to as self-punishment, and a tendency to say yes when I want to say no. My weakness is thinking I'm not good enough. I'm making an attempt to clarify this so that I can move on with the second assignment. My second weakness seemed to be a common one in the room, that I'm extremely hard on myself, very self-critical, and hold myself to impossible standards, but that must be tied to never feeling good enough. I want to make sure I take the opportunity to face these things in an honest way now, because I was inspired by what you said, limiting our possibilities before even considering them, or how our behavior limits our abilities. I don't want to get in my own way. I want a remarkable life. Lauren had a remarkable life. Lauren was a remarkable person, and we are all blessed for having known that remarkable person. On her blog, very shortly after that email to me, she wrote, "We've all heard about the gloom and doom speak of how the world would end in 2012. And while I don't buy the hype, I did experience my very own trials over the last 5 years. Trials that resulted in a dying and a rebirth of sorts, a cleansing followed by renewal. I was filled with a certain peace, the happiness of a blank slate, finally able to leave a certain amount of pain behind me, finally able to let certain things go, visceral pain, transformative pain, things I could not put into words." Lauren, thank you for being with us.
Lauren always wanted to hear me sing, and I never got the chance to sing to her, so I'd like to do that now. Some people live for the fortune, and some people live just for the fame. Some people live for the power, yeah. Some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within, and I've been there before, but that life's a bore, so full of the superficial. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you, yeah. Next, we have a few students that will talk about Lauren's journey this year and all the great projects that she did.
After all of the presentations about Lauren's work, we would like to invite anyone and everyone to come up and share anecdotes and stories about Lauren. We would really, really appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to start with a project called Oshi Plus, which is going to sound really weird to most of the people in this audience. But this project ended up being kind of a class favorite. And so the assignment was that we had to create a new product or service that didn't currently exist. And our group had a long list of things, and we thought they were good ideas, but they didn't even hold a candle to this idea, which is 1,000% Lauren's. So she educated us on where the idea was born, a little term called the dirty stay out, which I don't know if I should define for the audience, but so essentially the service was for people who might have had a really long night and didn't get a chance to go home in the morning, have to go to work the next day, or people who are clumsy and spill on their shirt. But essentially the idea is a vending machine that provides you with the bare essentials for your life, so that you don't have to live your life with so many plans. You can do something spur of the moment, which I think very much speaks to Lauren. She always wanted to do everything at her fingertips, so something like this would have just been so perfect for her. Do you want to talk about the actual thing?
Function?
Yeah.
So Lauren had this idea of creating this vending machine, that, as Hannah mentioned, and it would have all of these different products you would need throughout your life that you couldn't get when a store closed. So she comprised all of this list in different words to try to help to create a story for this company. And you had things like, basic things like T-shirts and notebooks and shampoo, just anything you would need if you're stuck in a bind.
So essentially, every piece of this project, she was very much the project manager. I felt, I felt like anything we were doing, we were like, is this okay? Like, what do you think? And that's not generally the case for our program. Everyone has very strong opinions, but this was so much her baby that we really wanted to take her direction. And she had an idea for where these machines should go and like where the highest traffic was, et cetera. And so many people that any of us have told about this idea, they're like, where do I invest? And I think that's just one of many Lauren ideas that, if you took them to market, you'd be a millionaire. Show. Click. Oh, okay. Oh, that does a slow thing. Oh, this is a brilliant idea of hers. Yeah. Freaking just brilliant. So she had an idea for a social media campaign as a way to promote these vending machines. So she created the hashtag #OshiLife. So anywhere you were, if you were embodying the spirit of Oshi Plus, or if you had just bought something from Oshi Plus, you could tag it and your picture would show up on the vending machine. And then you could tell your friends, oh, I'm on the 14th Street one, and et cetera. So probably the best social media idea we had all year. Yes. Not probably, definitely. So I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of that one. Okay. Sergio?
So we work with Lauren in this project for the Major League Soccer, which is called Don't Cross the Line. And we were told to create this campaign to reinvent the Don't Cross the Line. And it was more about, okay, how can we expand this? But then that was not enough for Lauren. I mean, saying don't cross the line is the same thing as cross the line for her. So she was like really like, okay, how can we make this more like bolder and change everything? And don't cross the line is so lame. But then we say, okay, how can we tell the client that it's lame, but in a polite way? And then we started talking about the project, and she got into this brainstorm mode with Janvi and Hannah, and everyone's like just like drawing all these words and coming up with this this score goal, and she was really hooked up on these words about the project. And that was her way of doing stuff. It's just like she would go in almost like this trance and would start like talking about this. She wouldn't stop. She'd just go all the way. And then you can see here, we got to a point that was about the soccer hood. So we came up with this new concept. It was like completely different from what we were told to do. And that was the thing, because she brought this vibe into the group that, you know what, whatever, let's do whatever we think we should do. Just because let's just be bold, let's do what we believe. And then we end up like, following the soccer head. We talked to our professor and said, you know what, you're students, go for it. What's going to happen? And then we did. She embraced this idea, and we developed this idea. It was just a fantastic moment. And there was this video that Jem is going to talk about now.
So what I'm about to show you is a video that Lauren was very passionate about. It was also one of her favorite songs at that point. So she took a lot of effort into thinking about what song should, be attached to the video, and she would make us, listen to every song. And when we finally chose the song, every time we played the video, we would play it over and over again for her, because she used to break into a jig every single time.
This next one is a class project that we did for MoMA, who is a live client of ours. And our assignment, we were broken into 5 teams, and we had to come up with a concept that really spoke to the heart and soul of New York City. What makes New York City different than any other city in the world? So you want to...
And for me, this was the first time I really got to know who Lauren was, and she even invited us over to her house. This is the first time I really got to know who Lauren was, and she invited us over to her apartment, and we met her amazing husband, and she was just very warm, and she was just encouraging throughout this whole process. And as Hannah mentioned, we were presenting to MoMA, and we were one of the groups that was selected to present to one of the head curators, and Lauren was very instrumental in creating the story for us. And I was presenting that day, and before I was presenting, I was just sending her and the rest of the people in my group an email saying how amazing the script was, and how much, how hard they worked, and how much Lauren and Hannah and Archie and Larry's work went into this. And she responded with this email that I want to read. As I type this to you, you are probably rocking it at MoMA. Can't wait to hear about the details. I had a similar moment last night when I got home. Despite being exhausted, I felt excited and proud of us. We took this everywhere, to Fantasy Island and back, together. It's been quite a ride, at times really difficult for me physically, but it was our bond as a group that made me fight to be there with you. What you bring to MoMA today has been within us, a piece, each one of us, a sign with a soul. Sending you positive sunshine and sell the shit out of this thing vibes. See you all later. Love, LZ.
Okay, so this was, I guess, one of Lauren's most special projects. For those of you who don't know what the assignment was, it's called the 100 Days Project. It was given to us by Debbie. The idea of the assignment is to do something for 100 days, but also something that expresses who you are and what your brand represents. And I don't think any idea represented any of us as good, as well as this did.
So I'm going to read this out loud because I won't do it justice. My heart failed at 25 years old and left me with no choice but to face my own mortality. Would I be forgotten? What would I be leaving behind? This is a 100-day journey to the special places where I've lived my life, from childhood, pre-heart condition, through the scary times, and up to present day. I want to leave behind a piece of me, my mark, in each of these 100 locations. My secret hope is that revisiting amazing moments and places in time My heart will recognize the authentic joy and remember what it's like to live. Maybe this pure energy will start a party for my cells and nurture my heart in ways medicine has not been able to. And of course, there's her Instagram handle, 100 heartbeats. So, Lauren, in true Lauren fashion, sketched and wanted to make this medallion perfect. So, she ended up with resin. We know it's resin. And
I think part of the presentation, or part of the assignment that was left up in the air was how long this would actually take each of us every day. But that didn't matter to Lauren. She was determined to do this, and just, that was Lauren.
so she made 100 of these medallions. Here's a little bit of the process. And here's what she wanted people to follow to document her journey. So we know that Lauren really put her heart into everything she did, and this was her way to put her heart on the things that mattered. So here are just some of the locations, places she's lived. She talked about her first apartment and where she currently lives now with Thomas. The places she loves, which is the park. And Washington Square Park, she said it was really special. And she placed the heart on the stairs across from the arch, because that's one of her favorite views. And she wanted that heart to be able to see that view all the time. And this was her favorite wall, which I believe is in Soho.
And of course, the nightlife.
She was very disappointed to find out that most of her favorite clubs have closed over the years. And the one she was most upset about was one turned into a stationery store.
And American Apparel. And of course, school, NYU. And of course, street cred. Her passion for art and street culture, so she wanted to leave her mark there as well.
She said, all these other people are doing this. Damn right, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to put it on top of everyone else's.
She told this really crazy story about how when she was little, that she was really fascinated with the bottom of lamp posts, which was great. So, of course, bottom of lamp posts got a heartbeat. Do you remember what this was?
Yeah, this is 190 Bowery on the corner of Houston and Barry. It's full of street art and just a really great place to visit.
So here we have the best part about this whole project was just how the hell is she going to do this, and without getting caught and arrested and all those things. So it was very sneaky techniques. So this one's called the elbow lean.
This next one called the phone fake out, where she'd take out her phone and kind of lean to the side.
I believe it was the NYU post, going back a few ones, that I guess she had taken a cab, and she got out and told the cab driver to just hang out for a minute. And once the cab driver saw what she was doing, he took off. He was like, I'm out of here.
The next one is the backhands. Sneaky. And
the nonchalant pedestrian.
It's my personal favorite.
And even though this project was very personal to Lauren, it really kind of spoke to a lot of us, I guess. She wanted people to get engaged with it, and I think that's something we all could learn from it is, like she wanted to leave her mark, and I think that's something that we could all take from that. And
then she created a map of all the places she put her heart. So you'll see it's heavily concentrated in the Lower East Side. Can't forget Long Island, where she's from. And then she did some out in San Francisco while she was there for school.
And I don't believe that she finished all 100. So, Tom, with your help, we'd love to help you put those around, and even in the studio at SVA. So, we'd love to do that.
We have LZ sat in the same chair every day. So I think.
Yeah, we talked about putting one right under the table spot where she sat every day.
Back
right. If you were in that seat.
Yeah, if you were in that seat, you needed to get up out of that seat.
Hi, my name's Billy Burke, and I graduated from this program last year. Lauren and I, Lauren has been one of my best friends for over a decade. And this gentleman standing next to me, Josh Griffler, she's been one of his best friends as well. And I introduced Lauren to the program after graduating, and she had actually watched my progress and my growth and my journey through the program last year. And she was fascinated with it, and she asked me if she'd be good. And I knew, without question, I didn't have to think about the answer, was yes, she would be remarkable because she was an incredible storyteller. And that's what she did, right? If you look at, the lineage of her work, it was about her telling her story.
I'll jump in there.
So Josh, what happened?
Hi, guys. I would be your other spiritual brother. The two of us were the left and right sides of her for a very long time. We walked in Nolita against that wall a long time. And in San Francisco, that's where I surf right now every day when we moved about 3 months ago. Lauren always had a plan. We were friends just, I'd say, about a year. Thomas, me, Lauren, my wife, Sandy, and eventually my son, Logan, who she took care of better than anybody. I want you to know, in between whatever else was going on. The first day she got home from Cleveland Clinic, she needed to go back to the heart doctor. And she asked me if I'd come with her and photograph it, which started our own journey. And as anybody else knows who's been around us, we took a heck of a lot of pictures at a heck of a lot of events. And everybody had their own shape and time within the events. I would have never, starting when we started this weekend, ever been able to make, truthfully last night about 10:30 till about 6 this morning, I would have never been able to see through the thousands and thousands and thousands of moments we shared without Billy. Billy directed this. He saw a clear vision that Lauren always had. And I think you'll be really inspired. And I just want to tell you all thank you very much for being a part of her life, because she was an immense part of mine.
Yeah, so with that, the whole storytelling, right, and Lauren kind of documenting her life, I didn't know Josh had been shooting these photos. I mean, I knew he shot photos of Lauren, but I didn't understand to the degree until he showed up from San Francisco with his drive and said, Billy, we got work to do. And that was last night after the wake, and we stayed up to the wee hours of the night to put this slideshow together, to do our best at illustrating Lauren's journey over the last 6 years. We cut it to a Stevie Nicks song, which was, as we all know, this is, that was Lauren's hero. And, I hope you enjoy it. And, God bless Lauren, and, God bless everybody for being here.
Took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, I'm getting older too. So I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, I'm getting older too. Oh yes, I'm getting older too. So could you take this love, take it down? Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down. Oh, where the landslide will bring it down. Where the landslide will bring it down. Where the landslide will bring it down.
When we're all put in situations like this, and you always hear about the person, oh, they were wonderful, they were gentle, they were this, you hear these wonderful adjectives that people use to describe people. There's only one adjective that I've heard over and over and over again. Fierce. Lauren was fierce. There is no one fiercer than Lauren. Everyone here who's been in my class has a tendency to be a bit of a free-for-all, by design completely. It is very discussion-based, and you have to have an opinion, because you always have to have an opinion when you're around me. You have to have an opinion. You have to support that opinion. And as you all know, Lauren was really good at that. She handled it always incredibly well. And I knew from the beginning of school that she'd had a heart issue. As a teacher, Debbie told us all that she'd had a heart problem and just to watch out. Okay, fine. She never once belied anything of any weakness, back to that fierce thing, ever. And then, well, she never did, except that she wore that scar like a medallion. If anybody could make a fashion statement out of that scar, she did. She did it. I kind of wanted one. And then the last day of class, my class, we broke out some champagne and just started talking. And Lauren came up to me and told me her story. And as Billy said, she was an amazing storyteller. And it didn't change the way I thought about her in the least, other than she was an absolutely incredible woman who was incredibly fierce, incredibly brave, and obviously very loved by her family. Mom, will you raise your hand? I'm a mother of two, and I only hope that my children would say about me what she said about you. I only hope. Lauren was fierce, and that's what we should remember.
My name is Jamie, and I had the great fortune of interviewing Lauren for her seat in the master's program. And I was introduced to her by Billy, and he said great things about her, and she kind of came in and out of the studio once or twice. And I don't let anyone come in just because they know someone, because someone speaks very highly of them. Everyone has to come in on their own merit. And Lauren came in very fierce, very strong, and a little apprehensive at first. She came in with kind of this hard, tough exterior, and she sat down in my chair and just lit up. She lit up a room, she smiled, her eyes glowed, and just proved with every word in that interview how much she deserved to be in that program and earn a seat in the program. So we were very obviously happy to give her a seat, and it was a joy beyond belief to be in her presence. So that was my interview with Lauren. It was phenomenal. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman.
Hello, I'm Lauren's Aunt Kathy, and I just wanted to share a part of Lauren that was from her younger days when she was a baby. Lauren was the first baby in our family, and since 1968. And when she was born, she was special. From the first photograph that was ever taken of her, you just knew that she was special and from some other world. She was an old soul that was just so intelligent. Lauren was not only my niece, but my friend. And when she was little, she lived across the street, and we spent so much time together. And she'd come in my bedroom, and she would love to draw. She was always drawing things, and I still have all of her drawings that she ever drew. And I was making her a book to put together to give to her. And Lauren loved to dance. She was a wonderful dancer. She loved to dance. She always smiled. She loved to speak to people. She loved to make friends with everyone that she met. Lauren could see through things even at the age of 2. She would make you feel like she would make you feel as if you didn't know what was going on in the world at 2 years old. And she actually made me feel dumb. And I just feel so special to have had her in my life. And the only thing that comforts me is the fact that because I feel that wherever she did come from, that she either went back to or she's somewhere greater and maybe can help us all. Like the presentation of the UN, maybe she can help us to bring peace into the world or something much greater than that. And the fact that she brought all of us here together today is something great in itself. And what an experience it was for me today to see all of her work that she's done in school. Because every time I asked her, Lauren, I want to hear about school, I want to hear, she was running to school or taking a nap or she had to study. And I want to thank everyone for being in her life. I want to thank everyone for the special words that you shared and the special moments that you shared with her and the fact that you yourselves knew that she was special, like she was special to the family. And I'm sorry, I didn't plan anything. I'm just trying to think about, we just loved Lauren with all our hearts, and she had such a hard journey, and she's at peace now. And thank you, everyone, for being her friend and for the nice things that you said. And Thomas, her husband, what a wonderful, wonderful man that came into her life. Thomas has a very big family now. And we're just so grateful for that, and for Thomas's mother for giving birth to him. And I just want to thank you all.
My name's Randy, and my locker was right next to Lauren's locker in the Masters of Branding studio, so I got to have a lot of just experiences with her, with all the candy that she ate, all the soda that she would drink, and that avocado kale salad with that smell that we all learned to love in the group. And she did a lot for me. I worked with her in a project about trends and thinking about deeper thoughts about these things that are in our lives. And she pushed me to look deeper. And that's who she was. She was a big pusher. She would force me to work harder. She forced me to think deeper. And at one point in the semester, I went through a bout of depression. And I reached out to her for help because I looked at Lauren and I thought, wow, she shows up to class every day, fierce and ready to succeed. And I wanted to know, how could I tap into that? And she just told me that I had the be. And that really changed me. And it really set me going for probably the rest of my life, is that I needed to stop worrying about everything around me and just be. And yeah, so to her family, to Thomas, she was a beautiful, amazing person. I miss her every day. I really do. And you guys are lucky to have her in our life, and we're lucky to have her in our life. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Lauren's cousin, and just a funny story. We are exactly 9 months apart by the day. Lauren was just not only my best friend, but like kind of an older sister. Like she just had that personality and can just light up a room, and like the world was her stage, and I just got to enjoy every second of it. So a funny story, we were about 9 or 10 years old, and we're sitting at my parents' house for dinner, and this whole 9 month, literally to the day, March 23rd, December 23rd, and she's just thinking about it, and she looks at my mom and dad, and she goes, so Marie, Uncle Joey, what happened? My parents came home from the hospital, and you're like, hey, let's shebang. She needs a cousin. And I'm sitting there, I was always the much more prude in the family, and I was like, oh my God. But that was just her, just so candid and so funny, and just throwing the shebang word around to my mom and dad. But so our name for each other was Kissing Cousins, which in public as we got older felt a little awkward to say out loud. So if you see me tagging her on Facebook, just please know that it was just such a legit term of affection and endearment, because that's my kissing cousin. And the other night when we were at my aunt and uncle's and I watched my niece and her niece playing, like just about a year apart from each other, just my little niece following Olivia running around. And I'm like, this is us. This is us as kids. And I'm so grateful that like they get to have that experience now too, because it was so strong and it made me who I am today. And I love her so, so, so much. And I'm so grateful to have gotten to see all of what she's been doing the last year, because I've missed her. And I know that I can't be set for the text messages and not phone calls, because what she was doing was so great. And she left behind such a legacy for us to just have and hold in our hearts and remember. And it's tangible. And it's so much more than just thinking about that person and saying like they were great, but like we could be there. We could be with her spirit, with that strong, strong heart of hers. And we can have those moments where she's really just standing right next to us, letting us know that she's okay and she's all okay. And so are we. So thank you all for being in her life. And thank you, Lauren, for making mine so awesome.
Hello, I am Lauren's mom, and I really am not a public speaker or had any intention of speaking today, but I am compelled because I cannot believe the outpouring of love that I have heard over the last 4 days about my beautiful daughter. I'm going to try and get through this, and I really want to just talk about this last year because I can't go through 31 years. I knew Lauren was amazing from the day she was born. There was something about her, like my sister said, so I won't backtrack, but she was an amazing baby, an amazing toddler, amazing adolescent. And when she told me that she wanted to go back to school after years of her being ill, and as a mother I always worried, I worried. And when she started, I mean, I was so grateful she made it in. She was so happy. She was happier than she's ever been in like the last 5, 6, 7 years. I was happy for her, but I was worried. And I knew I wasn't allowed to say that word to her, but a couple of times I did, and I got yelled at. And one day she wrote me an email, and she's like, "Ma, you have to stop worrying about me. I am happier than I have been in years. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm out there with people, making a difference, being creative." She had the most amazing mind, and she wanted to use it. And she was in her home for so long, alone, and trying to entertain herself. And she had this brilliant mind that was being suffocated. And it was sad. And this year, she was happy. And I had to stop saying I was worried. After that email, I just couldn't say it to her anymore. And I worried anyway, all the time, but I just couldn't say it anymore. And this has been, I think, one of the greatest years of her life. She made the best out of it. I think it was amazing. I waited all year to see this. I didn't see her all year. I think I saw her 5 or 6 times all year, and everything was text messages, not too much phone calls. Some phone calls, but I missed her. I missed her so much, and I had to control it. And seeing this work today, finally, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing this for her today. I can't, because I got to see her, what she's been doing for a year. And it was beautiful. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. Thank you for loving her.
Hi, I'm Lauren's Aunt Cynthia. Lauren used to come. I'm responsible for making Lauren the clothes horse. Sorry, Thomas. I brought her to the city. We used to go to all the clothing shops, and she just loved doing that, and I brought her to work, and she used to design clothes on on the pieces of paper. But I was telling a few people the other day, one of the fondest memories I have of Lauren was when she was an infant. She was, I think about 3 or 4. She was in a little yellow romper where, you know, your thighs hang out, a little tank. And we were in our yard, and with my sister Kathy. Oh, she was 18 months old. Jeez. Okay, now this is even more. So there was a rose bush, and it was a beautiful day. It was like a surreal day. She pricked her finger on a rose bush, and me and Kathy had our backs towards her, and she held up her finger to me, and she went, it's Cynthia. Because she was this infant, this cute little thing, and she had this deepest voice. Okay, so she went, "It's Cynthia. Can you kiss my boo-boo?" And I just remember looking down at her with her little curls. Me and Kathy were hysterical. It was like a little old man, you know, behind us. So I kissed her boo-boo, and she was like, "Thank you, Aunt Cynthia." You know, and I just have that memory in my head, you know, and it was my pleasure to kiss her boo-boo for 31 years, and I would do it again. And I just love her so much, and I appreciate everything you guys have done for our family. And the love is so strong that through this horrible, horrible loss, with all you guys behind us, we're going to be able to come through. And my sister and my brother-in-law, God bless you. You're holding up so well. It's amazing. So thank you, everybody. And Thomas, you were sent from above. Like my sister said, you're an angel. You truly are an angel. And you're a gentleman and a wonderful person, and you'll always be my nephew. And you always got to come over for French toast, okay? And I know you like the cannelli beans with the little wrap. Okay? Thank you, everybody. I love all of you. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Audrey, and I was Lauren's mentor. And Debbie, thank you so much for reading that email. And I was equally as thrilled that she was my student as she obviously was that I was her mentor. I'll share a little note. I was her mentor before I knew it. I had spoke at a class at SVA before I mentored her, and out of the whole group, I got this email. Hello, Audrey. I am in the Masters of Branding program at SVA, and it has been on my mind to write to you and to thank you for the visit to our class a couple weeks ago. I so enjoyed your talk with us, and I have such respect and admiration for the business you have built. I think this is all so brilliant. All capital letters, brilliant, 3 exclamation points. I would love to come by the offices and visit one day. Perhaps after the holidays. Thank you again. Wishing you a fun holiday season. And that was before I was asked to be her mentor. And for those of you who don't know, the Masters in Branding program pairs a student for one-on-one advice and advisement as they go through the final semester of the program. And Debbie asked me to be Lauren's mentor. And the first thing she did when she came to my studio, now I'm the mentor, we sat down in my studio's conference room, and she said, "So tell me about you." I'm the mentor, okay? That's usually my line. How did you get started in this? Did you study music when you were a child? How did you really get into this kind of business? It's branding. How did you do that? And I sat there and said, this is going to be an interesting semester. She was so, everyone keeps using the word fierce. I'm fierce. And to me, she was fierce. So that should give you an idea of exactly how fierce she was. And Debbie, you're fierce too. She loved this program. She told me she was so happy. She loved her team. She loved all the students. She said that, and Billy, wherever you are, she told me, I can't believe, I can never for the rest of my life thank my friend Billy enough for introducing me to this program, because I'm with other people and they're creative and I feel great and I feel inspired.
And we would sit one-on-one in my studio and go through things. And then I got this email, which I won't read to you. And it's just, thanks again for yesterday. I really value our meetings and appreciate the time you spend with me. Speaking of appreciating, I cannot thank you enough for your offer to create some audio for our Catholic Church thesis presentation. And from there on, she goes on with her thoughts of what I could put together, audio-wise, to help her presentation and her team. And I was traveling, so Thursday night, she sent me another email, and I sent her back, how long do you want it? And I will say, I did not get it to her, but she completely trumped me today with the choir, because even I didn't suggest that for sound branding, which is what I do. And I just want to close with one thing, is that while I was her mentor, she was my mentor. Because of everything she had been through, she still was positive, she was smart, she was funny, she was a little irreverent, she was a joy to be with, and I got her, and she got me. And it was a wonderful semester, and I learned as much, if not more, from her than she learned from me. And to you guys, you were everything to her. And Debbie, she thought the world of you. Thank you. And to her family, thank you for letting us do this.
How you doing? I'm gonna do my best to try to get through this. My name is Archie Bell, friend of Lauren's. We were in the program together. I have a bit of a confession for this group right here. Before we started the program, I kind of stalked everyone. I'm probably not the only person, but just so you know, you get the acceptance letter, you know, and then you get the list of people in the class, and then who am I going to be, you know, with for the next 8 or 9 months. I found Lauren. As we all know, she documented her life, and it wasn't really that hard to find. It wasn't hard to find her story. Read her story, and another confession, I was a little afraid. I was intimidated. Because I didn't understand how a person with a heart condition like hers would be able to get through a program like this. And so we had kind of like a welcoming reception. It was on the west side, SVA Theater. And so, you know, I see flashes of, you know, my peers and their faces, but Lauren sticks out in my head. And when she arrives, I see her, and she's kind of, it's in a gallery space, so people are kind of like mingling around. There are pictures on the wall, and I see her just kind of in the middle, not really speaking to anyone, just kind of meandering through. And I notice her, and then I say, oh, it's one of those things where you say, oh, that's her, right? Like that's the person that I read about that, you know, has such a profound life at age 30 something, right? And then we have kind of like our first meet and greet where we meet all the instructors at SVA, and I'm pretty reserved. I don't speak to a lot of people. I don't really warm up to a lot of people so early, and it just so happens that I was one of the last people to sit down, and the person I sat down next to was Lauren. And I remember this because, again, like I'm like, oh, here's Lauren. But then like Thomas was behind, so I'm like, here's Lauren, and then here's like this big guy behind Lauren. And I think I introduced myself, or we introduced ourselves to one another. And what's weird, and as these guys know, is that Lauren and I were in almost every project together. So you saw Oshi, that was one. Thesis, that was one. Crayola, Skechers, Uniqlo versus Gap, you name it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. In this fear and intimidation became an appreciation, and a respect with every project for her ability to push through, which became the motto to get us through thesis. Just push through, and her spirit. What's also interesting is that we kind of like similar things. It's weird because how do you prepare to you see somebody and it's like, oh, I think I might want to connect with that person. But I wasn't prepared to connect with Lauren, but I connected with Lauren more than probably anyone in our class. And it wasn't by design. I don't know what that is. We worked on every project together. I arrived in New York City in 1999. I loved the Lower East Side. It was fascinating to me, all the shops and all the street culture and all of that. And I was like, I have this idea, blah, blah, blah. And Lauren's like, oh, I have that idea. Like, oh, I want to, Lauren says, I think I want to rebrand like Barney's. I'm like, shit, I want to rebrand Barney's. Like, that sounds fascinating. There were just these similarities that that were just kind of coming about. I mean, here's the lesson. I don't want to drag on, but for thesis, again, about the Catholic Church, a project that Nora, Richard, Lauren, and I worked on. As some of you may have heard in our presentation, we opened up. We worked a lot. We worked hard. We shared a lot of things. The last time we worked together, I kind of felt more connected to someone than I have in a while. And it wasn't planned. And it originated from a place of fear. And that fear turned into a love and a mutual respect. And I can say the same for Richard and Nora. And I want everyone here to know that that night when we were all together, that she was surrounded by that love, and she was surrounded by the respect that she deserved. Sergio as well. And she was okay. She was good. She was good. All right, thank you.
Archie mentioned Lauren's spirit. And yes, she was fierce. She was badass fierce. But Lauren was curious fierce. Lauren never, ever wanted to stop learning. And I have been trying to make sense of this since Friday morning. And I can't. It's not fair. It's not right. It's too soon. Maybe she didn't want to formally stop learning. I wish that she was here. I never actually set out to be a teacher. And when Steve Heller asked me to create this program with him, I really thought that it would be more about furthering the discipline of branding than necessarily influencing those who might be doing the branding. Getting to know my students has been the unplanned privilege of my life. Being inspired and mentored by them. Lauren was the best a student could be. Smart, funny, kind, full of empathy, joy, exuberance, and curiosity. And then fierce and well-dressed. My kind of girl. I'd like to say thank you to her family for bringing Lauren into the world and helping her be who she was. And I also want to thank Thomas. I understand, Thomas, that you proposed to Lauren many, many times before she said yes. In typical Lauren fashion, she somehow thought she wasn't good enough and didn't want to have you work so hard to be with her. And thank you, because she was worth every second. Lauren made the world a better place. She made us all better people in her presence. She made us better students. Because really, we all are students. Ever since Friday, I've been reading Lauren's blog. I went all the way back to the beginning and read the entire thing. SaveLaurensHeart.com. And I would like, because I happen to just love symmetry, I'd like to say goodnight and read the quote that I read this morning, which I will likely read every morning. Do things that scare you. Live life all the way. Love with every cell of your body. Eat that one piece of chocolate cake. Wear your favorite dress or your good clothes to the market. Go places, see things, and don't look back. Thank you, Lauren. We all love you, and we miss you. Good night, everybody.